Welcome to Backstage with Richard Ridge. One of this season's most eagerly awaited new musicals is Trevor, which is playing at Stage 42. It features book and lyrics by Dan Collins and music by Julianne Wick Davis. And please welcome my guest who won the coveted role of Trevor, 13-year-old Holden William Hagelberger.
Hi.
How are you, Holden? How's everything?
Good. It's going really, really well.
Okay, well, listen, first of all, it's thrilling to have you here. Like I told you, I saw the show last night. You are so wonderful, my friend.
Thank you.
Okay, you're about to make your New York stage debut. How excited are you?
I am so excited, and I'm still pinching myself every day trying to figure out if this is actually happening or if this just is all just like a dream, but it's really happening and it's literally crazy.
Okay, so on a scale of 1 to 10 or more, what number is this?
This was like a 10, like probably more than 10, like a 11 or like 13. Like, this is crazy.
Is it a dream come true? I mean, we all dream about this sort of stuff. I mean, you're still so young. I mean, you've got so many dreams still to come true, but it's like, oh my gosh, like here you are, New York, opening a brand new musical, with the New York Theater opening up. Is it a dream come true for you?
It's a complete dream come true. It is such a dream.
Okay, so the role of Trevor is one of the most sought after roles this season. Now, I understand the audition process was very intense with a national virtual casting call. There were over 1,300 submissions. What was your final audition like, and how did you get the call to say, you know what, Holden, you're going to be Trevor?
So the final audition was just like any normal callback or audition where we just kept saying the lines and they would give me little fixes. We would do it again and then we would do the song. And then they said, all right, you're good to go. So my final audition, it was just like that. And then I left, got home. And then I was in a show at the time at my community theater, Inspiration Stage. And I was doing that show and we were doing Seussical Junior. I was the Cat in the Hat. And I had gotten home and for some weird reason, I just decided to just sit on the couch. And all of a sudden I hear my mom say, yes, Bonnie. And that's my agent. And I'm like, what is going on? And she hands me the phone. And then my agent's like, so I just want to let you know that they didn't want you for this role. But I just want to say I'm so proud of you. Almost like she was going to say no. So I was like, you know what? Just get it out already. Like, she was like, they didn't want you for any ensemble tracks, but I just want to let you know, so proud of you. I'm like, and like, I was like, yes. And in my head, I was like, just say it already. And then finally she said, well, they didn't want you for any other tracks because they wanted you for Trevor. And she was like, so you're Trevor. And I just started crying because I was so overwhelmed. I was like, oh my God, like this is like actually happening. And I went over to my dad and I was like jumping around. I was like, I did it. And it was so surreal. It was so surreal to hear those words that I booked it.
Did you have to keep it a secret for a while?
Yes, we had to keep it a secret until September 10th, which is when they announced everything.
Okay, so what was that window of time like with your mom and dad? You're like, don't say anything. You can't tell anybody. What was that like?
I was so tempted to tell my best friends, and I was like, no, I can't say this to my best. I just can't because it was a big secret. And I don't know. I couldn't let it out, but I had the temptation to just tell everyone. Like, I wanted to post about it. I was like, I got Trevor, but I couldn't until they announced it.
Okay, so you're doing Seussical. You're going back to rehearsal or performances. Didn't they see a whole different Holden, like walk in with a whole different smile on his face? Like, you're hiding something from us.
Actually, I had to go to the rehearsal the next day to like fill in, but then after that, I actually had to drop out of the show, but no one knew. And then when the news came out, everyone was like, oh my God, I'm so proud of you. You're going to do amazing. I'm so proud of you. And a couple friends have already seen the show. So, yeah. And a couple more friends are singing it this week. And, yeah.
That is great. So you have people flying in because you were brought up in Texas, right?
Yes. Sugarland, Texas, right outside of Houston.
Okay, so people are flying in to see their best friend or one of their besties open in New York, right?
Yes.
Okay, so Mark Bruni, I saw Mark last night. What a brilliant director you're working with. Josh Prince, a choreographer. I mean, what was it like? You're so good. You're so older than your age. I'm calling you an old soul because I watch you in some of these scenes and I'm like, I have no idea how this wonderful kid is able to go to these places emotionally.
Thank you.
It's so great to watch you. What was it like working with Mark Bruni, your director, on like the dialogue scenes?
It's really great because Mark, Mr. Mark, sorry, Mr.
Yeah.
Mark, gives me tons of great notes on how to say these lines and how to build relationships with these people, and just how to just be really natural on stage. And he's also just such a funny director, and he's so patient, and I don't know, he's just a wonderful director to work with.
Okay, we have to talk about what this role means to you and how important this musical is. There were so many incredible messages. I mean, there were so many kids there last night with their parents and grandparents. I mean, talk about the messages in this musical and what it means to you.
I feel like I just feel like the messages are just be who you are. Just be who you are, and don't let other people's words get to your head.
Yeah. See, I was like that growing up. I always danced to my own drum. I listened to show tunes all the time. I had my brothers build sets. They played with the flashlights to make the big lights. I was like, I'm going to play all the roles. You're going to be my stage. But, we did this. We always knew we were on some kind of path, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. What was the defining moment for you when you told your parents, I have to be a performer. I want to be a performer and try to make a living at this?
So there was this community theater where they were doing shows, and I was like, my parents were just like, let's go see this. So my mom brought me to the show, and it was called Aristocats. And then we watched it, and I was like, this is kind of cool. And then they were putting on Flat Stanley, the musical. So we went to go see it with my dad. I was like, okay, this is like, I might want to do this. And then the School of Rock National Tour came to Houston at the Hobby Center. And I just remember watching it and like watching all the energy. And I was like, this is something I want to do. So I went to go audition because the community theater had a little, they were putting on Madagascar, the musical. And obviously, I was like, that's one of my favorite movies. So I went to go audition, 8 years old, We're All in This Together from High School Musical. And I got a part. And right when we started the choreography and I started dancing, I was like, this is something I want to do. And
the rest is history, so to speak, right? Who are the influences that you love, like that you listen to on, I don't know what your kids listen to now. Still have records. I don't know what you listen to, like cast albums on now, but like, who are your influences and what are your favorite shows?
Alex Brightman, Jeremy Jordan, and Sutton Foster are my, yes. And then my two top favorite shows are Tuck Everlasting and Beetlejuice.
Boy, you have good taste. I love Tuck Everlasting. Not many
Tuck Everlasting is a beautiful show. I love that show.
Yeah, I love your different types with all this stuff, So when you close your bedroom door and you listen to music, what do you normally put on? Like, is there a go-to, like, I'm putting this cast album on right now, I'm going to sing to this?
I used to sing on little car, on like road trips. I used to sing Live Like This from Tuck Everlasting, and I would just belt it out in the car.
I love that. Okay, you're working with such an incredible cast in this. I mean, so many, seasoned pros and a lot of kids. This is so beautifully cast. What's it like, captaining the ship? Because that's what you're doing now. I mean, you're the captain of your show. What's it like working with this company? Talk about that.
I love the company so much because they're all so supportive and they all are just really patient. And also the show is just, the show is just really incredible. And I love working with the company.
Okay. I mean, just the first day you walked into the theater, I mean, it's a beautiful theater, Stage 42. I mean, it's stunning. Like, what went through your mind? How emotional was that first day of like going into the theater, like for starting tech, your tech time, and be like, oh my gosh, I'm here. I'm actually doing this in New York.
First words when I saw the set were, oh my God. Yeah. And then you look down the audience and there's just so many seats, and it was so weird, but it was so fun. I don't know. It was just incredible. Like, it was just stepping on that stage and having to do the run through during tech. It was just crazy. Like, I was like, oh my God, this is actually happening. Like, with all the lights, it was incredible.
How magical was that first paying audience, like a full audience, like, you're doing the show. Do you remember a lot of it? Because I speak to all these stars are like, Richard, I remember I came out and then I took my bow, and everything else.
Yeah, I just remember because I have to go through the little door, and I just remember walking out, and right when Diana popped up, they just started clapping, and I was like, oh my God. And it was weird because whenever I hear the audience for the first time, all my nerves go away. But that night, whenever I heard the audience, I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. And it was just, it was so crazy. It was so crazy that I literally forgot my line on Invited Dress, and I forgot the lyrics.
Well, it happens. That's live theater, but it's like, oh my gosh, here we are the first time Invited Dress, and I have no idea what my first line is, and there's no one there to help. There's no stage manager.
Yeah.
Because you enter from the house.
Yeah, and also just like hearing the audience like scream for Diana, it was so, because like we never heard that before. Yeah. So when I walked up, I was going behind the couch to sing, and I look up and I'm just like, and I just forgot my lyrics, and I was like, oh wait, okay, I got it now. And obviously the whole show went really, really well, but yeah, it was crazy.
But see, that's a chapter for your book. That's a fabulous thing.
Yes.
Invited Dress, forget my opening line. But listen, I've spoken to a lot of people, like the Hamilton cast. They always go to we call it the White Room. It's like when you go up on dialogue or a song or something. It's like going to the White Room. And it seems like forever. And you realize it's only like 2 seconds or something.
Yeah, and it feels like 2 hours. Like it feels forever.
Well, you sort of have that Mama Rose entrance in Gypsy. You come through the house. I thought that was fabulous last night.
Yeah, it's really cool having to like run up. And also I have to be there at a certain time. And I have to be at a certain spot at a certain time. So I have to like literally run through the house. And it's just crazy. And then whenever I step on stage, I'm like, oh my God, all right, time to do this.
And then it's a running train. It's a moving train for you once you're on stage, right?
Yes. Tons of quick changes, tons of monologue, tons of dialogue, tons of monologues, and tons of songs.
Okay, so what was like the hardest part? There's so much incredible choreography. Like I love that the cane number last night just totally blew me away. That was like old Broadway, old Hollywood. It's like your precision is perfection with your cane and your hat and everything else. How long did it take you to learn that Josh Prince number?
Oh my God, it took me a couple weeks to actually perfect it, and I don't know if you know, but on the second preview, we were, smacking our canes as usual, and I smacked it on the ground, and I hear a big pop, and I look down, and half of my cane is on the floor because it just broke in half. So I just throw the cane. I'm like, keep on going, y'all, keep going. So it was just really, really crazy. And also that cane number is harder than it looks. It is really hard having to keep the cane in your hand and trying to keep it as precise as possible. So yeah,
because you flip it in your hand. You do so much stuff with that. I'm like, there were no flying canes. I'm like, this is brilliant. So I just wondered, like, when you went home, you were like, Mom, I'm going to go in the corner right now, and I got to work on this number.
Yeah, it was like on the first day of learning the whole number, they told me to film it because it was like really hard learning it the first day. So I was off in the corner filming it, and just seeing Jody just like doing this over and over again and like not even being out of breath near the end. I'm like, how do you do that? Like, it's crazy. And then obviously through our rehearsal, we perfected it. So.
Okay. Your dressing room. I mean, how cool is that? Do you have your own dressing room?
I do not. I share the dressing room with all of the other boys.
Oh, I love it. Because there's not a lot of dressing rooms back there at that theater, are there?
There aren't. There's like 5-6 dressing rooms, and there's not a lot.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of dressing rooms.
Okay, so you all share this dressing room. Did you guys get together and say, let's do this, let's decorate it this way, or we have to have certain things? Like, for
Halloween, people went to Target, and we had a door decorating competition for Halloween, which one was the scariest, and we all had different awards, like Trevor's favorite, which one was the spookiest, which one was the funniest, like. So we decorated the whole door during our breaks. Some of the cast members would just be like hanging like different stuff on there, like spiders. It was all crazy. It was really fun to do, though. It was fun.
Yeah. Is there a go-to item you had to have in your dressing room for this run? Because it's your home away from home.
Yeah. I didn't really have anything. Yeah, I didn't really have anything at all. But yeah.
All right,
not like anything like special.
All right, no, because everyone's like, I have to have a steamer, I have to have this, or I have to have this stuffed toy that I had, like, this is my, like, my my lucky charm or whatever, but you have no time to spend in your dressing room anyway, so you're always on stage.
No, not really. I don't spend any time in my dressing room.
How cool was it seeing, like, walking in front of the theater the first day, seeing the marquee up, seeing your picture up there? I mean, those are really special moments because they only happen once.
Yeah. So it was the first time I ever saw the marquee was coming out of a rehearsal from Ripley Greer. That was before we went into the Stage 42 for Tech. And my mom was bringing me over to the theater. She was like, hey, do you want to see the theater? And I was like, yeah, sure. And we're going over there, and she just, like, kind of goes behind me, and I'm like, oh, okay. And I'm just, like, keep walking to the theater, and I look up, and all of a sudden the marquee, it just has my picture. I'm like, oh, my God. And I turn around, my mom's, like, filming, and turns out she knew way before because the Mark told her. So, yeah, it was really, really fun. It was really, really crazy. Like, I just started, like, oh, my God, like, this is insane. That my picture's up there. It was crazy.
You know, you're helping to reopen the New York theater with Broadway and off-Broadway and everything else. It's a very, very exciting time. What that honor means to you and how emotional it is for you.
I don't know. It's like, it's just kind of like, I don't know. I feel grateful that, you know, I get to do this. I just feel really grateful. Like, I'm so happy and thankful.
That is great. So what is the last thing you do before you get set to go on stage for each performance of Trevor? What's the last thing you do?
What I do is I drink a little water, and I kind of like swig a little bit of water, and then I do warm-ups as I'm walking down to the stage door. I have to put my mask away in the little cubbies, and then I just get prepped because we do have changes. So while I'm sitting in there, I do kind of rehearse them in my head. I'm like, all right, this is a new change. All right, new stuff. And then when the music starts and right before I walk out of the door, I take one deep breath, and then I walk out of the door, and then I go sit down in my spot, and then the show begins. And obviously all the nerves, just like, oh my God, like, what's going to happen tonight? So, yeah.
It's exciting because every show has a whole different audience, right? Everything's different.
It does. Every single show has a different audience. Like, some people scream, some people clap. It's just like, it's definitely, because when an audience is like super duper live and super duper just like thrilled, it really helps our performance a lot as well, because we're like, oh my God, the audience is like cheering, and we love that. So it definitely perfects our performance more.
That is great. So I saw you last night. So when you all took your bow last night, do you remember what you were thinking last night when you took your bow last night at Stage 42?
I don't know, just like whenever I walk to bow and just see the audience with like their smiles on their faces, all the cheering, I just get so happy, because like that means we did our job really well, and I'm so happy that the audience enjoys our show.
Okay, so as you start to get older, is there a dream role from a Broadway show that you'd be like, oh, when I'm like 30 or when I'm like 20, I want to tackle that role?
Evan Hansen and Dear Evan Hansen.
All righty. Well, like I said, they should just see you now for that, because like I said, you could do it tomorrow. Do that show tomorrow. So my final question is, I'm sure there's so much going on with this show. What has made this all so special for you? As you and I are sitting here right now, is there something going through your mind of what this whole experience of, you know, coming to New York, being in this show, getting this role, what it means? What does it mean to you?
It means the world to perform in New York and to just be in an off-Broadway show. And it means a lot to have supporting castmates who will stand by your side and will just help you through everything. So it means the world to me to be able to perform in New York City in an off-Broadway show. It means a lot.
That's the best. Well, once again, Holden is a star of the new musical Trevor, which is playing at Stage 42. It is choreographed by Josh Prince. It's directed by Mark Bruni, and you can get tickets at Telecharge. Holden, this has been great. Thanks for dropping by to talk to me today at Broadway World.
No problem. Thank you so much.
Critics are calling him hugely likable, universally relatable, and truly beautiful.
But you can just call me Trevor.
Get tickets now to Trevor, the 4-star must-see musical, now playing at Stage 42.